right, so we're back. This is, if you guys listen to this on YouTube, the Scoop Slam podcast is back, and then
hmm
this will also be up on the SoundCloud and the iTuneses.
Which is why this one was a little late. Yeah, let's go with that, and not the fact that Joel is really slow to watch the follow-up Raws to pay-per-view events.
Uh,
I feel like you busy, right? Like, cause you don't watch it live with the rest of us. Like, I know me or Mean usually watch it live, or Sean too, and we'll tweet it.
I
Like,
always gotta watch it later. I always make time for the pay-per-views because those are Sundays and I'm
Yeah.
usually free. But Mondays, someone's gotta hate watch Gotham.
and only Joel will do that.
oh, God.
uh,
So I guess what we're gonna do here is obviously we're gonna do it two parts like we did the pre Hell in a Cell where Joe and I gave our predictions. So we're gonna do Hell in a Cell, then we're gonna do the Fallout to Raw, which was obviously there. So should we just run down the card and then we're gonna me and Joe obviously made our big predictions. Ooh.
I mean, y'all made predictions, but I just never like. There's some that I never thought would have happened anyways.
I was gonna say run it down, then say who's right, and we can
Yeah.
take it from there.
Okay, well,
Betting on
so I mean, the pre-show match was the Jobber Central. It was
Yes, it was.
You know what though? It's you say Jobber Central, but these are guys that can main event.
Yeah, these are guys that can main event, and we're gonna talk about that when we actually get to the first match of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But this was Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville, which is a great team versus
Hell yeah.
versus Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett. Now, mind you, Sheamus has the Money in the Bank, so why the hell he's in the pre-show is blowing my damn mind.
And you know what it was? It was the battle of the evil foreigners versus the good foreigners plus Ziggler.
I saw that joke. I like that joke, Joe.
So we did predict that Ziggler would get the win. His team did win, of course.
Well,
I
they
can't
are
remember
they're
the
trying to
pick.
get them over, because
Oh, yeah.
like I think they're always building this 6-man tag match as of recently, and
Yep.
this is the new incarnate like stables that are going to be in it. Like Joe said, the bad foreigners and the good ones.
What I was not expecting, though, was for Cesaro to hijack the match so wonderfully like he did. And I mean, dude, all those, running uppercuts. He was basically throwing shurikens all over the place.
But the best thing kind of came towards the end was when they won and Ziggler got a sign that says Cesaro section.
That was good.
Yeah, because everybody knows what Cesaro means to the WWE universe besides Vince, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of sections, Joe, I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things of this match is there was the Stardust section. It was Stardust and the Ascension. I'm actually big fans of those guys, and I'm big fans of them working together. So I'm sitting there watching the whole time, like, oh, they're going to do something. They're going to do something. Something's coming. And then nothing ever came.
It's this whole 6-man tag team thing where like it literally not even that long ago it started, like the trend of having stables be like 3 of them. Like of course it's been
that's
like
the
that.
problem because they have one show because no one watches SmackDown. Let's face it.
Yeah,
So
not even
it's-
Joel, and he's the
Right,
newbie.
because SmackDown is the
Except for
rebound.
Rich. Unless you're
Yeah.
rich, no one watches
He watches it with his dad, so it's kind of like 50-50.
Aw.
But here's the problem: it's like they have to shove all this great talent into 6-man tag matches, and that's just boring. Like it's boring because we don't get to see anybody showcase their talent alone, and
There's no storyline either, which
No.
is a real killer to
No,
it.
the thing about it is though, like I get tag matches in general, but when you add another person, then you might add like a manager for the 3 teams. That's basically Survivor Series.
Like what Xavier Woods does. Like if you're gonna have a 3-man tag, have someone be kind of like
Yeah.
Xavier Woods, who's a character who only sometimes gets involved.
And he
Yeah.
can wrestle, but the main thing about
yeah.
him is that he's a manager type. So he's the guy who's the great on the mic. He really is.
oh, he's amazing.
Yeah,
on
out of
mic.
all of them, that's the thing. When you have 3 people in a team, that's what you should do. 2 who wrestle a majority of the time, and the 3rd guy who's a manager who can wrestle if he wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the opening match, and then we actually got to the pay-per-view, which was John Cena versus To Be Determined. Now, Joel predicted Tyler Breeze, and I predicted Cesaro, because we know that backstage John Cena is really high on Cesaro, but...
I was thinking Sami Zayn, like before. I know I didn't get predictions on
yeah.
Justin, but I would have thought Sami Zayn.
And holy shit, the 3 of us were wrong. And it's so funny too, because I knew So I had to actually Google a bunch of these names. The moment when they're like, "Oh, the mystery opponent's coming out," and an old man comes out on a scooter, and I'm like, "Oh, is John Cena gonna beat up another old man? I hope that segue turns into like a transformer, and then Cena has to fight that."
Well, my big issue was like they obviously brought out Alberto Del Rio.
With
Now
Sepp Coulter as manager.
I was probably the only one in this group who kind of likes him in general.
my biggest issue with him is when you watch a Randy Orton match, it's a boring match loaded with headlocks. That's the same style Alberto Del Rio brings to this. Like,
But
he just has this washed down. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I looked online. I looked at a bunch of like wrestling groups I'm in, and a few of the people were legitimately excited, and most are just
a
going,
lot of people were hyped. The
Right.
audience went
because
nuts
it's
they're like, "Dude,
California.
that too.
Yeah.
That really
But
helped.
here was the big takeaway, and this is what I saw most people saying. Why didn't you take someone out of the opening show match like Sheamus and give him the title and build him up as a, formidable foe? Like, imagine if Neville came out there and gave John Cena another like crazy incredible match, because we know Cena can go toe to toe with these guys and keep up and
Yeah.
do some
Oh, yeah.
sick moves. And then Neville wins. It would have been like, oh my God, they were right. That's and Neville, he's the future.
Yeah, and then Neville
he's
gets
amazing.
to keep the belt until whenever Cena comes back. Well, what's he doing? Is he shooting a movie? Is he writing a book? He's doing something.
That's because you know what was funny? I don't think he was on Raw.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, that's like the first time in
he's
a
gone
long time
apparently
that he
for like a
wasn't.
month and a half to 2 months, and apparently it's some like sort of family time. He just wants to take time off.
They
So
both.
Which you can do when you're the number one face of the company. You can be like, yeah, I just want a month off.
Well, it's both of them, not just Cena. Del Rio kind of has to finish his indie bookings with AAA, and that's because I read of some of like the deal that was going on between them and WWE and Del Rio, and the thing is that he will finish up his indie bookings, but and kind of play heel for now, but kind of not like because really, what's heel nowadays?
well, apparently his contract dwarfs pretty much every mid-carder combined.
Yeah,
That's
and
not
he has to
surprising.
work far less. Like, he's making almost half of what John Cena is making in America. Are you guys fucking kidding me?
but
Like,
that's because he's doing like when he finishes his indie bookings, he's coming back like extra more, and they're gonna push him the like what was in the article they said the Mexican champion that they never got with them before, like the baby face. Like,
and I like they kept pushing that to where it's like, yeah, Hispanic pride, the first, Hispanic American belt holder champion and everything. And then they go over to Seth and he's like, man, it's so great to have a Hispanic champion, even though Seth Rollins is Hispanic, though he has a Jewish name, Seth and Rollins. He's like, that's so good to see.
The one thing I want to say though is that out of this group, I probably am one who's been a fan, kind of like I was never a fan of him as I was
don't
Eddie.
know enough about him is
well,
the thing.
I like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. I was huge fans of them, but that's because they got pushed super far.
Well, okay, I'll agree with you that I was a huge Rey Mysterio fan. Still am. Eddie Guerrero, of course, one of the best. You can't not like Eddie Guerrero. My problem is those guys had charisma, personality, and style. Like, you knew when Eddie came out.
It was Eddie.
110% going in. He's going to showcase it. He's going to go out there, and despite looking like a 230-pound guy, he's going to do moves that a 110-pounder does. And you really got behind him. Same as Rey Mysterio. Like, you knew quality was coming, but I see Del Rio coming out, and I'm like, God damn it, it's going to be a slow style. And the match ended up being a slow style match.
You know what it is? You know what it is, Armin? It just hit me. It's like we need a Cena replacement when he's gone. Well, shit, we can't get anyone who might be better than Cena or overshadow Cena. Get a good filler is what we need.
To me, though, like, when he first appeared in WWE with that, I forget his name, but he had an announcer with him, and he had that whole kind of like, I'm Mexican and rich, and like I'm more better. I
remember that.
Like, I actually liked that when he had his announcer and everything. He was playing off them, and his announcer would get into it. That was cool because they had like a buddy relationship. But then when he went kind of solo, and then I remember he wrestled with Edge for like Edge got the title from him in like WrestleMania 25 or whatever. It wasn't as great as he was, but I think that's because he was already heading out,
Mm-hmm.
And now that he coming back, like he hasn't been here for actually that long. Like I think 2010 or 2011, and then he left like 2013, 2014, and now he's gonna come back. I think they're gonna start to push him a lot bigger because they want to replace that Eddie Ray, even though they could do that with the Lucha Dragons.
Yeah, and I don't mind that he's gonna get a push. Like, I really don't.
I just hope he gains charisma.
Yeah, oh, I want more charisma. I want some of the guys that we've really been struggling for. Like, there's so many people out there going, push Ambrose. The crowd loves him. Like,
He's totally over and he's totally good. Why is he languishing in the mid card?
I mean, he was already like he faced Seth Rollins, and then they had that whole thing which I loved, in which he stole the title because he didn't win, and then I actually loved that when he did that. But and they put it back to Roman again, which I'm okay with Roman, but
we'll get to that when we get to that. But
we'll get to that when we get to that. You're right.
But before we move, I want to say too, I actually like the storyline they're pushing with Del Rio and the racist Tea Partier Coulter, who's like, we gotta come together now, us racists and you Mexicans.
Which is the funny part, because literally right before you started watching, Joel, like a couple months before that, Coulter was the guy that was with freaking Cesaro, and I can't remember the other name right now. And they were the all-American Americans.
Oh wow!
I loved it because everybody loved the All Americans. We know Cesaro and I forget his name. You're right. Like
I can't remember his name because he sucks so bad.
I think it's Jack
Tyson
something.
Kidd. That's who was.
Jack Swagger. That's
Jack Swagger. You're right. Yeah, Jack Swagger. And he literally. I remember when it was the Hall of Fame ceremony of last year when they came out like from the red carpet. Everybody, all the fans, are like, "We to the people." Yeah. You know, people love that.
It's funny too because obviously I'm new to wrestling and I always thought of it as being kind of like a more right-leaning sort of sport. So it's funny that they have a character like Coulter who is like mocking the Donald Trumps of the world and the Tea Partiers of the world. Where I'm like, maybe wrestling's a little bit more self-aware.
Joel. WWE's the sport that still has evil Russians. Okay,
it's true. It's true. Yeah. I guess they can have their cake and eat it too sometimes.
I'm not the biggest fan though of the Mexi-American flag. I feel like that is kind of a little disrespectful to both parties, but I mean it's WWE. Like it doesn't really matter. It's entertainment.
I just hope I hope they go somewhere creative with it. So I guess we'll find out sooner rather than later.
I mean, you never know where you could get. You're gonna have like a bunch of other Mexicans help out Del Rio.
Yeah.
And then Jack Swagger comes back just to help out Del Rio.
They're gonna bring back the Mexicos. I'm telling you,
dude. I wish Carlito would come back. He's not there.
Juventud Guerrero's coming back. I love that dude. Oh.
They're all in Lucha Underground. Like Chavo's there, Ray's gonna go there. I think the original Sin Cara is gonna go there. I don't know. Like,
so I gotta start watching Lucha Underground.
We're gonna jump on to the next match of discussion, which is my highlight of the night, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Roman Reigns in an amazing match, Hell in a Cell versus Bray Wyatt. We predicted Roman was gonna win to end the feud.
Well, yeah,
we were right. These dudes, after this, I'm starting to be like, okay, Roman, you keep improving, and I might cheer for you one day.
We were dreading this match going in, you and I. I mean, we're like, oh my God, just end this goddamn storyline. No matter who wins, it's both going to suck. But here's the thing. They had an amazing match. Bray played a great heel. It even made story sense. As we've seen multiple times before, it's like, well, but, Reigns can totally beat Wyatt in a one-on-one fight. We've seen that numerous times. So what did Wyatt do? He cheated, and he kendo sticked, and he chaired, and did all the other good stuff.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, like, I will talk about it at the end of it, but now that he's out of it, I'm interested in his next feud for Bray Wyatt. Like,
we'll get to that when
we'll get to that. We'll get there. But this match specifically, they did more than I thought they were actually going to do. Because I know Armin was saying, like, maybe they're probably not going to take a lot of bumps. And they took bumps, I think.
Table spots, man. Yeah. A bunch of table spots.
Yeah, and then I thought they were going to go out of the cage for a second, to be honest. Like, I thought, like, Roman was going to take it to the top. But I know they don't want to do that anymore.
I was going to say, and again, from a story point of view, I like that Bray more or less had the match in the bag and could have won if only he went for it. But he had to be the villain. He had to be the bad guy. And he's like, I'm going to skewer you with these kendo sticks now, even though they're blunt. And I'm like, that's great. That's good character stuff that he lost because of his commitment to cruelty that he would have won.
Yeah.
Well, so you say that, and during the pay-per-view, we had some friends that were over earlier in the day, and none of them have ever really watched wrestling. So they were sitting there like, fine, we'll watch like the first 2 hours with you or whatever. So they're watching the first two matches. Like, oh, this isn't bad. Then the Hell in a Cell match came, and they both straight up got into it. Like, they were like, oh, wow, those dudes are fucking beating the hell out of each other. Look at those bruises. I was like, yeah.
Because you were right. Like, it was the best match of the night, which you didn't expect that early on, to be honest.
No, I did not expect Roman to be like, all right, Roman, you did stuff.
Especially
do you think
since
it's like
Oh,
Do you think it's like because the fans said, too soon for Roman? Do
yeah.
you think maybe they're like, it's time to take another run at this?
Like, I
I
mean,
think it's still too soon, but he needs another like year of work. But I think the WrestleMania after this one coming up could be his spotlight. But they definitely threw him into the spotlight way too soon.
you mean after? You mean 33 or 32?
Yeah, 33.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm thinking 32. He might actually do something pretty awesome. I mean, depending on who's he feuding with by the time he gets there. I don't think he'll be the one feuding for the World Heavyweight Championship.
No, no.
I definitely don't
Unless
think so
there's
because
a
he did it
brand
already.
split, like unless they split the brands and he becomes SmackDown champion, he ain't becoming the main
I
champion.
really want that to happen again. Can Paul Heyman just write SmackDown again? Like
Yeah.
that'd be so amazing.
They're sure setting up Reigns for a collision course with Rollins. It certainly seems that way. That's going to be the hip new feud.
Survivor Series, I would assume, and
Yep.
also like because SmackDown is moving to USA by next year, so maybe they are gonna make it different and amp it up, and maybe they will let Paul. We can finally let you write SmackDown.
Good.
Finally.
So we did have another match after this. We had the New Day versus the Dudleys. Joe and I predicted the Dudleys would win. They did not.
Wow, that
Which
was
I
shocking.
like, to be honest. It's
I'm shocked that they didn't, but I'm glad they didn't. So
Although I don't think we're wrong in our prediction that we made that they're probably going to win at
Survivor.
what's the next one? Survivor Series.
Survivor.
Yeah.
That Dudleys will probably win at Survivor Series, only for the New Day to come back during TLC, and that will be the big torch passing moment.
We'll
you're
match that you made famous.
Exactly, I can see that right now.
You're right. Like I thought it was gonna be maybe the Dudleys would win there because it's their match. But you're right. The past they're not here to be the top. They're here to make the new guys better. You know what
Plus,
I mean?
if the Dudleys win, they get their 10, then they have no reason to stick around anymore. So it's in the storyline's best interest to keep drawing it out.
I mean, I don't know if y'all saw it, but there was a Stone Cold podcast interview with Edge and Christian, and I was saying they were talking about like the tag teams, the division, and how it really has amped up over the last year, especially with the New Day, how they just came in.
Yeah.
But they were talking about how it's nice that the Dudleys are back to kind of elevate these new guys because before they were playing on the same level, but now it's like the new guys playing against some legends, and
it is a nice mix. It's a lot better than like the 50 matches with the Usos and Los Matadores and Ryback.
I was so glad when I heard that. I'm not glad that they got hurt, but I'm glad that they kind of got out of the mix because we needed some new faces in the tag team division, especially how the Lucha Dragons have been getting a medium push. They haven't been getting a big push. Like people love them when they got on there. The only thing they're missing is the title push because they've been in the matches on pay-per-views and stuff like that.
Right.
I really love them. Like they're so fun. They're so high flying.
They're
like
a fun bit. I liked it when they teamed with Neville. Actually, I wish they could have stuck that around for a bit.
Yeah.
You never. Maybe they'll make them be like, "Hey, Neville, your daddy's sperm is a Dudley or something." I mean, that was the thing. ECW at one point there was like 15 Dudleys. There was like Big Dick Dudley,
Little Spike Dudley, LSD.
Oh, I met Spike Dudley at a local show here. Pretty great guy.
Oh, I remember the skinny guy, right? He was like really small.
They need to bring him back. That needs to be the thing. Like, like Xavier Woods out there is doing his trumpet thing. Then boom, little Spike Dudley comes out and hits him.
So
actually, speaking of which, we didn't talk about the best spot of that match, and that is that the New Day basically pulled some Looney Tunes level shit with the "oh no, you hit me, oh no, you didn't."
Well, playing the heels and playing it real good. So,
but Xavier Woods was out, right? Because he had got like hit before, and then they're doing the whole thing where he's out for right now.
Yeah.
So it was cool just to see Kofi and Big E get some time on the mic because they do get time, but of course Xavier is the main guy with the mic, and I did like some of the promos they were doing beforehand.
We're unicorns. We're magical unicorns. Throw up the horns, son.
It's so weird, but I like it. It's funny.
I don't know if that's booty though.
Booty. It's all booty.
He says everything booty. It's like it's weird in a way that it's just I like it,
Yeah.
They are like one of the best things. And it's funny, even they know they're the best thing now. They come out and say it. We're the best thing in the WWE right now.
Real quick before we get on to the next match, but I don't know if y'all heard before of like there's this thing on the WWE Network where it's a table for three where it's just a round table talk, 30 minutes, and they had Big E, Kofi, and Xavier. And they're talking. It was really nice. It was really good when they were talking how when they first came up with the idea of the New Day, they wanted it to be like everybody online was thinking that they were going to be the new Nation Domination, but they were laughing because that's not what they set out to be. You know, they wanted to be kind of this weirder type thing from the beginning because they've been saying like, this is us now. We can do what we want. Kind of like Edge and Christian. Remember with the things they were, what was I forget what it's called, but they had their own instrument too. Remember?
They had the kazoos and they had the 5-second pose, which was a thing that they weren't even told to do, but they did in a crowd, chewed it up, and they were like, all right, that's your new gimmick, guys. So
yeah, and the trombone, I bet, was a thing he wanted to do and brought in, like, that's a killer thing now. You know, the trombone, it's a necessary thing. It's a staple.
Yeah.
So, next match.
So we move on to the next match, which was the women's title, and Joe predicted this one would be Charlotte. I said Nikki. I forgot there was no team interference, but then I sure said Charlotte, who did end up winning. And the biggest travesty of this match, I didn't even get to see Brie Bella, so fuck
sad,
that
right?
match.
I do. I'm with you. Brie Bella's the better Bella.
Yep.
Hey guys, here's a question: how do you tell the difference between Brie and Nikki Bella?
Okay, it's the inflatable tits.
Yeah.
Nikki has knockers, and Brie is with.
Honestly, there's also a thing if you watch Total Divas, but I don't think you do. I know me and Tom are big fans. If you look at them side by side, you could tell that Nikki has had way more plastic surgery.
Dude, she really has, right?
Like you look at them, you're like, wow, Brie, you have a normal face.
You know what? You know why though? Because of look at who they're dating. Daniel Bryan doesn't really like to waste money. John Cena is a billionaire, so
he's big match John.
Yeah.
And big tits John too, apparently.
Anything to say about this match?
The one thing, what I want to say, it came after the match, and was that Becky Lynch kind of got pushed. Like not like when Paige was running to the thing, she kind of pushed Becky to the side, and it's like, man, Becky's been put in the back. Can you stop putting her in the back? I actually like her. Like, and then that's why we'll talk about it later. But they were even saying, "We want Becky." You know?
Right. Okay, so I guess we're gonna get past that. Now another. I would say this was a good match. It was a placeholder match, but the World Championship, Seth Rollins versus Kane.
Which
Joel
how
said
sad is that?
would run in and do a face turn, and I said, well, Seth Rollins has got to win, so...
You know what, when the announcer said, oh, you know, and Sheamus has the chance to run it, the second they said it, I'm like, oh, you said it, so it's not going to happen now.
Yeah.
I kind of wish he would have, but then I feel like they're trying to save it for a specific moment that they have set. I don't think they're going to do the same thing they did this year with Rollins, where he goes at WrestleMania. It might be Royal Rumble. It might be TLC. You really never know. It's just, it's one of those things, you just don't know.
Even though it would make sense because he tried to cash it in before only for Kane to stop him, so why not run in when they're both beat up and tired?
What we now know is obviously corporate Kane is fired, so I guess, Demon Kane's going to be the one that's there permanently.
The only Kane we see, and everyone was fine with it.
It's kind of weird because, like, I thought with something like this, he'd be out the door already, kind of leave. Maybe they'll bring back a Buried Alive match, and that's when Demon Kane will be gone forever.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll bring him back in Royal Rumble, and remember he had a record.
Oh yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Really never know with Demon Kane.
So the match after this, which I forgot it existed, and if you blinked, you actually missed it. It was like a 5-minute just piece of crap match. Kevin Owens defeated Ryback. Thank the Lords. We both predicted it would be Ryback winning. He didn't.
I'm so glad he didn't because I don't want to.
I predicted my boy
Owens.
Owens.
KO, yep.
Because I am always on Team Owens, and I was sad that this one was like a 5-minute and we're done. They really got screwed
but that's
over.
The problem. You can't work with Ryback.
No, you really can't.
Look, the Divas match took longer than this match.
I know. I'm hoping now that their feud is assumedly done now, Owens can move on to better feuds. And in fact, on Raw the night after, they were kind of auditioning better feuds. He had a killer match with Cesaro, and he had a good one-on-one with Reigns. And I'm like, either of these two dudes would be an excellent feud for Owens, I think.
I always thought, they have a lot of European superstars on the roster right now. They should bring back their European title. Cesaro could hold it. Or maybe he can win the Intercontinental and then kind of like make it the European. We just
need to start hashtagging split the brand every time we talk about wrestling on Twitter. Maybe they'll fucking see it.
I want that to happen because one of my favorite things was the draft. Because I'm a big sports fan. And I always watch NFL, NBA draft.
I described that a couple of weeks ago. I described it to Joel how literally nobody on the roster knew where they were going. Like, commentators were like, wait, what the fuck? You're splitting us up? Like, JR was visibly pissed.
Yeah. Like that, but that was like one of the things. Like that's the thing that makes it real. A draft, you don't know where you're going, you know.
Yeah.
And that was a fun thing. And then they'd come out like, yeah, I'm on this roster. Like, oh, I'm on this roster. Like you just never know. I really want to come back, but you're right. This match forgettable. Glad Kevin Owens is here to stay because everybody thought he was gonna stay buried after Cena, when he
And
didn't.
then we actually move on to the main event. Undertaker, Brock, Suplex City, bitch.
Which I
Much
probably
like the Reigns Wyatt fight, we thought doom and gloom of this match, and yet in the end, I was very much surprised.
I didn't mind like towards like the middle and the end. Like the beginning started all kind of slow, but I enjoyed most of it. Probably more than Armin because I know he was all like the thing
I
didn't
enjoyed
like.
it way more than the SummerSlam match.
Yeah, the thing I didn't like though was they were bleeding and the doctors came in.
Yeah, that really killed the kayfabe right there. You're in a steel cage. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Nobody. Well, okay, except for maybe the doctor.
See, that's what I hated because it's like they're showing the preview to Hell in a Cell. They're like, the demonic, hellish structure, Hell in a Cell. Let us show you all these people flying off and blood everywhere. He gets a fucking prick on his head and they send in a goddamn ref. But thank God for Brock Lesnar just throwing the ref literally.
He
like,
should have
just-
suplexed the ref. That would have been hilarious. And the ref would have been like, I wasn't told of this.
And I mean, they were both crimson masking pretty hard. I know I was reading some stuff that was like, oh, well, did they blade? Did they blade? Was there blading going on? No, I think they just genuinely hurt themselves.
Look, Brock bleeds every 5 minutes into every match he's in.
He really
WrestleMania.
does.
Like, he always hits the post, and then he ends up bleeding, like, all the time. Like, I feel like he just does it on purpose now. He's like, I want to get into it. Because, like,
It's his signature.
they can't bleed anymore. That's, like, a legit rule. Like, and
Yeah.
a lot of time they're bleeding, it's because it's legit they're bleeding. So, yeah. It was an alright match. So, the feud is over, and, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has anything to say about the match.
There's a lot to talk about still. We got to talk about the crotch shot heard from around the world. By God, the sound on that was thunderous.
I don't know what that's like. I heard y'all talking about it. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't hear that.
I heard it, dude. You could go back and listen to it. It's a loud, it's a thud, man. Like you could hear the undead balls being shoved up into the undead scrotum because it was just bang. And I'm like, okay, you're even now. And also, I mean, I'm surprised you guys aren't talking about the fact that like they legit tore up the ring and did a big move on the boards. I liked it too. I'm like, oh my God, this is like seeing how the hot dogs are made. I'm seeing the ring get torn open.
That's when you see the dogs actually get like killed.
Get and turned into hot dogs.
You know what I want to ask though is like the fact that Lesnar won is there. You think that just undermines Undertaker, or was that a reason he lost?
Especially that next fucking month, they're hyping his 25 years, so he just keeps losing.
No, but I think, was it the fact they had him lose because of what happened after? They had to have him lose so they can do whatever, you know, whenever y'all want to talk about it. Because actually, I was super surprised, and I liked that happened at the very end with the Wyatts.
It was a good bit, you know. It was, again, good heelish antics at what it was. Is, you know, we're going to get you when you're at your lowest and at your weakest. And we got to remember, too, that it was even more effectful because the crowd was totally digging on Undertaker. And they're like, thank you, Taker.
Yeah,
which I thought was a beautiful, beautiful career reel moment is what it was. And then it's like, oh, them dastardly Wyatt boys are at it again.
Well, I guess since we're talking about that, we can roll that in. Because the next day, we saw them do that on Raw to Kane also.
Yeah. Like, but the thing is, though, like, I knew that the funniest thing to me was, when did Eric Rowan come back? Like, the guy without the hair.
Like a couple weeks ago, and no one cared.
I've been watching Raw and everything. I didn't realize he came back on. Maybe he just blends in with everybody.
He does. Well, it's funny. He has a new costume now. He went from the puke green coveralls to the black and green coveralls, which is honestly a much better look for him.
I mean, does anybody have an idea as to what they're doing? Is it like, Armin was like, is this a new Ministry of Darkness where they're the ones taking all the undead and kind of like, you know, for storyline's sake, they're taking their souls away?
Well, you know, it is funny because when they carried Undertaker off, I'm like, so they kidnapped a man. What are they going to do? Are they going to take him back to the swamp for cornholing as is redneck tradition? But then he comes back and he's like, oh, we don't ate his soul. I'm like, ooh, cannibal rednecks. Also a good choice.
I think you're going to see a promo in which, whether Survivor Series or whatever, that has them in their caskets, like Kane, Undertaker. They're going to be in caskets and whatnot. And whether it's team dead people versus Team Wyatts, Like either that or it's gonna be somebody fighting on behalf of Undertaker and Kane. You know what I mean? Like a buried alive match. Because
Right.
I won't deny, like, that'd be pretty cool to see the Brothers of Destruction back again,
For
Kane
one
and
more tag
Undertaker.
match.
Yeah, and like against a Wyatts. I don't know who would be on their team. It'd be kind
Well,
of
well, there was a great moment there we saw where it seems like they're hyping it up, where Braun Strowman and Kane met eye to eye, and they're like, "Oh my God, Strowman's bigger than Kane."
oh,
And I'm like,
I thought you were saying that they're like, oh, is Strowman gonna go over to the dead people side, like the Brothers of Destruction
no, no,
side?
no. But I'm thinking they have to have a fight, so I'm thinking
No,
maybe Bray and Strowman versus Taker and Kane for a match.
Mhm.
oh, I thought it was gonna be like them two. It actually really could be them two versus the four.
And then
Well,
I don't know. I guess Ambrose and Reigns could fight
See,
Harper and the other guy again.
wait, before you get to something, I mean, that's just, I want to ask. They've been teasing that both of them, Ambrose and Romans, that they're doing something, but what is it exactly that they're trying to do? I thought they were gonna like help Roman win the whatever happened at the end of the night. I thought something different. I don't know what's gonna happen between them because they're teasing something like. They're saying, "Yo, you ready? We're gonna have to do that thing. You remember that thing we're gonna have to do?"
They're buying a timeshare together. Is what they're doing.
I'm just confused because I'm sure the payoff will come soon before Survivor Series, but it's just I'm curious as to what they're gonna do because they need a third member. I think.
Yeah, there's a lot up in the air, like where Survivor Series is going, and I'm starting to wonder. Maybe, well, like you said, Undertaker buried alive match. Maybe
Yeah.
that's gonna be like a thing, him versus Bray or
You
something
know what?
like
You
that.
got to do it. You got to have the Alive match in Texas on Tuesday in reference to the Undertaker's first appearance. If you
Ha.
retire him, that's how you do it.
I thought he was gonna. I thought Taker was gonna retire for 32 because it's in Dallas. He's from Texas. I think he's from
There
Houston
you go.
specifically.
I could see what they do is, like he gets buried by Bray, right? And then they're like, oh, we buried the Undertaker now. Kane is here still. Kane's doing his thing. He's the monster. Kane's like, I haven't seen Undertaker in forever. WrestleMania set up at the, Fastlane pay-per-view or something. Undertaker comes out of nowhere, attacks Bray's like, you think, you got rid of me. Well, you didn't. There's your WrestleMania match again, right?
There you
What?
go.
And then pass the torch over to finally having Bray beat Undertaker the right way. Because the last time, like, Undertaker comes in, beats the shit out of him, and then Bray literally spends 6 months pretending like it hasn't happened.
Yeah,
'Cause
classic.
Bray-
That's terrible booking.
Bray is that kind of character that would mimic similar to an Undertaker, where not in the much where he'll have a streak, but in the creepiness,
Uh-huh.
and like
And
how
in having-
Undertaker was
and-
super creepy back in the day.
Absolutely. And in the only one who's having an entrance that's even close to being as cool as Undertaker's entrance.
Yeah, can we also not have it outside because that just ruins
That-
Undertaker's
yes,
entrance
please.
and Bray's.
It
Oh,
really
God,
does.
yeah, that was terrible. It
I
ruined
re-
all their entrances.
I really can't see what you're saying that they're gonna build it up like maybe Kane has to bring back Undertaker, they bury Undertaker and then he comes back before WrestleMania. He's like, you thought I was buried, I'm the real dead man, and then he loses to Bray, so it is the real passing of the torch, and that's where he also retires, because you don't have to win your last match to
No.
retire. Good, Ric Flair lost to Shawn Michaels.
true.
And just to kind of quickly just sideline this as a big fuck you to WWE 2K16. Great game. But here's the problem. While you're doing the Austin showcase, you get to play the Buried Alive match, which was Austin versus Undertaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Here's the problem. That's the only way you can play it because the match itself isn't in the fucking game.
Oh, that sucks. No buried
Aw.
So
alive
why
match.
would you put the match in the damn game? And like in the actual game, you can like there's a scene where they actually take apart the apron. There's like exposed concrete around the ring, and you can fight them all that. But none of those features are in the actual game unless you're doing the showcase. I'm like, what the hell?
Yo, you remember? I don't know if Joe does, but you remember? I mean, when they had an Inferno match in the game, and you actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. That's cool.
Well, maybe that's what they do. How about that? Like at TLC, they'll set up an Inferno to take out
yes,
Kane
please.
after they take out Undertaker at Survivor Series.
Oh,
Yeah,
now
like
they
it
have
really
to
makes
do that.
sense, and then either they both come back before WrestleMania,
Yeah.
and Kane is there just really to support, kind of because. If it is I was always thinking since years ago, since I heard that it was gonna be at Dallas, that I thought Undertaker was gonna retire at 32 because it's in Texas and that's where you want to go out in your home state.
Man, wouldn't that be some shit? It's like they end up taking out Undertaker and Buried Alive. They end up taking out Kane in an Inferno, and then the Wyatts are just like running rampant. And finally, it's like the brothers just returned together. They're like, nah, you didn't get rid of us, bitch. WrestleMania's coming.
What I want to happen is I think they did this with the Shield, but kind of similar. But with the Wyatts, where like they'll take them out, right? They'll take out Undertaker, Kane, and then while other people are having their matches, or even the World Heavyweight Championship match, or the other champions, they're having their matches. The Wyatts just come out and start beating, to show their dominance and how nobody can. They should fear the Wyatts. And then Seth Rollins would be, of course, the first one to run because that's his character. He always runs.
Well, I guess that we're gonna just quickly kind of talk about Raw because honestly, there wasn't much to talk about besides the number one contender, which is Roman Reigns.
Which we all knew by the time Ziggler, Del Rio, and Owens won, we all knew it was gonna be Roman.
Yeah.
Which for a second though, I didn't, because I was like going in that match, I was like, it's gonna be Roman, but like the last couple minutes, I actually thought, oh wow, actually could
to me, the moment that Kevin Owens won his contendership match, I knew he had to be the pin dummy because there was no way they were gonna get Alberto Del Rio to get pinned,
And
so
neither Ziggler because he's trying to go back up.
But hey, good on Owens. Took a pin like a boss, did some damage, did all his moves and everything. Actually, there was a whole segment there I loved where it's like, oh, Superman punch and super kicks and all the other stuff.
It was cool. Like the Fatal 4-Way, like I liked, and they had some cool spots. But what was it? I think it was Owens when the first time he does I would say a super kick to Reigns. He goes out and knocks out for like a couple minutes outside the ring. The second time he does it or whatever, it's towards the end of the match, and then Roman like wakes up and his Superman punches him. I was like, okay, what? First time you knocked him out. Like I thought once he did the super kick the last time, I was like, wow, is Owens gonna win this? And then Reigns comes out of nowhere and Superman punches. Like, okay.
Have I mentioned before how great I think it is that they actually do call that move the Superman punch and they're allowed to call it that?
Have you noticed that everybody who does a spear does like when Charlotte does a spear, she does the Samoan thing that Reigns does? It's like, is that like a thing now that everybody? Edge had the best kind of spear after.
Yep.
He did like he has that I'm trying to think of it, like not creepy but like crazy look to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he would like lick his lips, toss his hair back,
and his eyes
stomping around. His eyes would bulge out of his head.
Yeah, it was crazy.
There's a question for the comment section right there. Who had the best spear in all of WE? Was it Goldberg? Was it Rhino? Who was it?
Rhino's gore was pretty good.
I like Edge the most. Edge, he like was one of those wrestlers that, especially with his feud with John Cena, like I really dug like Edge in general, and when he first came out, and then when he does with John Cena, like I don't know, Edge has just been one of those guys.
Are my favorite tag team of all time, so like I love Edge.
For me though, mine would have to be the Hardys. I really do love the Hardys. Like I wish they would come back. Like screw TNA.
Oh, they'll be coming. Don't worry.
Like once TNA like ends off TV, they're just like, whoop, sorry guys, the word WWE's calling.
Wasn't Hardy like one of the last dudes they were really trying to push before Cena, but they had to stop because of like drugs and shit?
Yeah. No, well, in 2009. He won. Jeff Hardy won the WWE Championship. I think it was from Chris Jericho in Armageddon when they had Armageddon back in the day. And I thought it was cool because I was like, finally, a guy that's like never really been like the main thing. He got it.
Here's my prediction now, and this is going way into the future. The Hardys contracts are up in January for TNA.
Finally,
they've been saying they want to explore. Houston, Texas was at WrestleMania X7.
The best one.
The best WrestleMania ever, my favorite pay-per-view ever, one of the best TLC matches ever.
The freaking ladder stunt, which didn't quite work, but was still freaking amazing.
So, my prediction is, at that pay-per-view, we're going to have, obviously, the Dudleys. We're going to have New Day. We're going to have some sort of combo of maybe the Lost Matadors when they come back repackaged. And the ultimate surprise will be the Hardys making their return in that match.
At WrestleMania 32?
Yeah.
So you're thinking a fatal 4-way tag team match? It might be a fatal 4-way tag team ladder match.
TLC, yep.
Oh, TLC, yeah.
All in, like just all in.
Hopefully they choose the Lucha Dragons because even though Sin Cara recently botched, he had a good streak in which he didn't botch.
Whoa, Sin Cara botched? Tell me it isn't so.
No, but he had a good streak. Plus, Kalisto, I think, is the main guy you should be looking at. That dude is amazing. Some of his indie work is amazing. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's you're right, Dudley's. Then you have New Day, of course, and Lucha.
I also feel like it's that because the best WrestleMania 17 was in Texas.
I
Once
love
again, they're going to Texas. It's like a full circle. It's like, oh, the family's back together. Hell, they'll probably do something where they'll have Edge and Christian like be, commentators or something for it because they can't physically wrestle. So,
Oh, dude, that would be so amazing if Edge and Christian just came out of con because they are working stuff with WWE, like when it
yeah.
comes to the network.
I think, obviously at that one, they'll let New Day keep it. And
Yeah,
it'd be
of
a
course.
really great moment because you can just see the WrestleMania moment after which they keep pushing. New Day in the ring celebrating. These old iconic teams all come in, raise their hands like, yeah, you guys are the new shit. Like it just writes itself. And if WWE doesn't do it, they're. I mean, if Vince is dumb anyway, but
But this is something they feel like they would do, and what would be even more amazing is if they had like Spike come back, Lita come back, just to like
Yeah.
be managers for like their own like the teams they used to be, And
Oh,
that'd be amazing.
speaking of newness, something we completely almost didn't talk about. Tyler Breeze, NXT guy, made his appearance on Raw finally, and I gotta say, much like Kevin Owens, he was brought up as NXT. No, we don't want you to be another character. We just want you to be the guy you were from NXT.
Uh-huh.
Like
Now,
I
if
think
that
Sean was
works
the
is going to be
biggest fan.
debatable because they obviously brought in the party dude before and that didn't work.
Adam
so,
Rose, yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
then
Adam
he's
Rose is
lost
really
now.
good, too,
Nobody
so-
knows where Adam Rose is.
Adam Rose and his rosebuds.
No, nobody knows where he is. Nobody knows where Bo Dallas is.
Not my Bo, man.
Bo was
Love
cool.
Bo
I
Dallas.
liked him, but I think Sean's the one who's the most like he's a hardcore Tyler Breeze fan. He loves him. Like I like him,
Pretty-
but he's not my favorite.
His theme is literally everything you need to know about him. From his theme, and I think that's really cool. He's
really-
basically evil Derek Zoolander.
I like I forget his name. I think his name is Adonis Creed on NXT. He's like he reminds me like a Titus O'Neil but different, So like,
And oh man, did Summer Rae trade up pretty quick to a new guy? Which it's like, well, I'm glad to see we're just moving this along.
I love this one for Summer Rae. I think this is a perfect match.
It
I mean,
really is.
remember she had Fandango first,
Yep.
and then where'd he go?
Yeah, straight down to not even mid-Carter level.
Yeah,
He's dancing somewhere.
This is why they need brand extensions because
Yeah.
they make them a whole. You don't use every superstar. When you have brand extension, you use a majority of the superstars more than
And not
you
only that, you go back, look at the brand extension. With the split, they were forced to build. If there was no brand extension, we never would have gone Edge as champion. That's a fucking fact. Like they would not have been daring to push him enough.
I don't even know if they would have had like Ray,
Yeah.
Ray, like remember when he did the whole Cinderella story or whatever, Royal Rumble. I think it was I always thought like he did it for Eddie and everything, but because he was on SmackDown, that's the reason he got him. But it's just it's one of those things you want back, but hopefully they do.
Yeah. So anything else to talk about on Raw? Because I think we pretty much covered it while talking about the other shit too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is what I wanted to do.
I mean, slowly they're gonna have. I don't know when Survivor Series is. I know it's. I think it's at the end of November. Whenever, let me see. Okay, November 22nd. That's what I want to say. So you have about a good month to try to get the Survivor Series stuff. Teams are gonna have to start being formed. Alliances. Yeah. We're gonna see who's if they're Team Ambrose and Reigns or Team Wyatt.
I will say too, now with John Cena off TV and Randy Orton away with a mysterious injury, I kind of like that everyone else is getting a chance to play and all the mid-carders are kind of getting to show what they're worth now.
Randy actually wanted like a lighter schedule because he's been here a long time. He kind of deserves a lighter schedule now, Like Shawn Michaels had a light schedule. Like when it was towards his end.
I remember when Orton came in first with his curly hair and his blue trunks.
I really liked him in Evolution. And then when they screwed him over. God. I remember the only reason I knew Orton is because my dad knew his dad, like not like in person, but like he knew the wrestler.
Oh, Bob Orton. Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know that far back, and my dad did, and I was like, oh, okay.
Bob Orton and Cowboy Bob Orton.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
So I guess that'll end this episode, and of course, me and Joel will be still coming back for the weekly Raw recap. So
Raw talk.
And then Scoop Slam will of course come back. I think this Sunday with news every weekend.
See, they'll cover the actual topics that hit the internet, like Alberto Del Rio may have spit in a plane, and we analyzed his DNA, and it says he's half not Mexican, so he can't have the time. Some shit like that they make up on WrestleZone or whatever.
But I love there's only a couple that I can go to. It's pretty dope.
We need to bring back. Can we have Vince Russo on this? I mean, he's pretty
Dude.
useless. He'll probably join us.
Remember we talked about a time about buying TNA footage and running TNA because they're so cheap?
Whoa. Let's be honest. I'm not wasting money on that. Okay?
No
Hey,
one's
we could
wasting-
make it better, okay? We could do it. We could bring AJ Styles.
True.
Just put a bunch of fart noises under TNA footage. It's perfect. We made it better.
Only footage after 2009, because before that they were fucking amazing.
If anything, I'm about to invest in Lucha Underground.